Hi English 110 students, I wanted to make this quick video going over how to use Turnitin. You'll be submitting your research essay with Turnitin. So as a reminder, one thing you'll notice on our syllabus is the academic honesty statement. This is very typical of college syllabi. Part of being in a college environment is being really conscientious about giving credit to other people's ideas. So you want to, anytime you include someone else's writing, their exact words, their graphics, their research, or even their ideas when those ideas are very specific, you want to make sure that you give credit. So some examples of a violation of academic integrity is failing to put quotation marks around the exact words of others, failing to cite or give credit for ideas that you paraphrase. And then also, when you put things in your own words, you want to be really careful that those words are not too close to the original. You don't want to keep the same sentence structure and just swap out a few words with synonyms. That's a form of plagiarism called patchwork plagiarism. There's a video on paraphrasing that you can optionally watch if you want a little more information about that. And also, you shouldn't submit the same work for credit in more than one course. So you've already received credit for writing an essay, you shouldn't then recycle that essay for another course. This is called self-plagiarism. That doesn't mean you can't write on the same topic. When I was in college, I wrote 3 or 4 essays on the same novel that I loved, but I wasn't recycling any of my writing. I didn't use any of my sentences. I wasn't cutting and pasting paragraphs together. I was doing new work for credit for a different course. And then of course, having someone else write your paper or using a commercial term paper company is a form of plagiarism. So for the final draft, your essay will be checked with Turnitin for plagiarism. All the statistics and data need to be cited. Even if you paraphrase, you want to tell your reader where you got that information from. So for example, here's a statistic. We need to include the source for that. And any words that are not your own, even short phrases, you should enclose those with quotation marks to show that this is somebody else's writing, this is somebody else's words. So when you go to submit your final essay, you'll see that Turnitin is embedded in our Canvas shell. So you'll be submitting on Canvas and it will automatically be checked with Turnitin. You can upload your essay more than once. So what I'd like you to do is go ahead and upload your essay early, check your similarity score, fix any unintentional plagiarism, and then if you need to, if you have any issues, go ahead and upload it again. I have the settings set so you can upload 3 times, as long as it's before the due date. Here's an example of a few student essays, 5 essays with their similarity scores. So after you upload, you'll be able to view this similarity score, and then you'll click on that, and you will see some detail. So this is an example of a student essay with their name blacked out, and you can see that they got a 16% similarity score. This means that 16% of the words in their essay matched exactly with words that were also online or in another student's essay. This does not mean that 16% of the essay was plagiarized. So what you'll do is check each of the highlighted quotes and make sure that they're cited correctly and there isn't any unintentional plagiarism. So here we can see pollution caused by plastic litter. This one, we do have quotation marks around it, so I can see that the student was not plagiarizing. They're including the quotation marks, but they forgot to give the full MLA citation. So we need the author's name and some other information so that you can match it up with the works cited page. So you could go ahead and just make that adjustment. The nice thing about Turnitin is that it tells you where this quote appears on the internet. This can be really useful if you've lost track of your sources, which can happen because research can be a really long and messy process. So it tells us that this is from this website, and and you can see the words are matching there, so you could go and just add that citation. Here's another example. So I can see that it does have the paragraph number, but I don't know which source it's from, so I can't match it up with the Works Cited page. So it's not plagiarized. It's highlighted because it matches exactly sentences that are already published online. So the only thing you'd need to do here is go ahead and add that author's last name, or if there's no author, the shortened title of the source. So here is another example, and we can see that in this case, the words match an essay that was submitted at another university that uses Turnitin. So we can just check 400 years to degrade and never fully degrade. So this exact phrase appears in another student paper. So this is not plagiarism. It's just a very common phrase that we would use to describe how plastic decomposes. So you would just ignore that. It's highlighted, but it's nothing to worry about. Turnitin is great software, but it's just computer software and it doesn't have the discretion of a human being. So it's going to occasionally highlight something that doesn't have any issues with plagiarism. So you would just go ahead and ignore that if that were your paper. Okay, so here's our last example. The first one is highlighted and we have our author's last name. That's great. Here I can see we have a statistic. So I know that it needs to be cited. So if this was my essay, I would go ahead and add a citation. Any statistics need to be cited. And it's needs to be cited each time you have something. So as a reader, I don't know if this statistic is from the same author or if it's from an entirely different source. So you want to make sure to cite it. There's actually a second bigger problem with this. We can see that a lot of words in a row are highlighted. So this makes me think that it's too close to the original. This would be an example of the patchwork plagiarism, where there's maybe just a few words swapped out, but the sentence structure and most of the words are just the same as something that appears in a source, something that somebody else wrote. So as a writer, you have a few choices. You could just quote it directly and use the exact words in the original, and then include quotation marks and your citation. Or you could completely rewrite the sentence so that it's not similar at all. It might be faster just to use a direct quote in that case. At some future schools, you might not have the option to turn an essay and to Turnitin more than once. For instance, you might transfer to UCSB or a Cal State, or even a course here at City College. You might only submit it to Turnitin one time and not multiple times. So what can you do to make sure that your citations are spot on and that you don't have any unintentional plagiarism? So my first tip is to just read your draft out loud and make sure that everything sounds like your own voice. And you usually can hear it if something sounds like somebody else's words. And then what do you do if you're not sure if a phrase is your own or if it's directly from a source? Google's great for this. I encourage you to just use Google. So this is an example. Let's say this is my essay, and I know I need a citation because of my statistic, 13% more likely. But let's say I don't remember whether those are my own words or those are a direct quote. So what I would do is I would go ahead and I would highlight all of this, and then I would just paste it into Google, paste it directly into Google. And here what I can see is that, yep, it is exactly the words of a researcher. Exactly the same words in the same order, and not my own words. This is a pretty easy fix. All I need to do is go ahead and include my quotation marks and then the citation. So here we have the author's last name. Et al. Is the abbreviation for and others. In this case, there were quite a few researchers that wrote the article together, and then my page number. And that's it. So now I've gone ahead and fixed my citation. So So please feel free to contact me with any questions that you have. I'm here to answer those. And we could also meet over Zoom. So thanks for watching this video and happy writing.